I'm going to show how to make graph paper using Affinity Designer's Power Duplicate tool. In this video, I'm going to start out by showing how to create a 1-inch grid, then I'm going to add quad rule divisions to it, and then finally I'm going to show how to create an engineering graph paper which has 5 divisions per inch, like this. I'm going to start by selecting File and then a new document. I'm going to choose letter 8.5 by 11. Make sure it's in portrait mode. Also make sure the document units are in inches. I'm going to create that. Under View, make sure that it says Show Grid. Also under View, make sure Snapping is enabled. The last thing under View is the grid and axis. I'm going to change this to basic, set to 1 inch. I'll just have 1 division per inch right now. Close that. Choose the pen tool. Click once at the top corner and it should snap to the lower left corner. Double click there. Choose the move tool. I'm going to use the power duplicate feature. So it's either Control J or Command J depending on if you're on Windows or a Mac. Hit Control J since I'm on Windows. And it made a duplicate of this one. I'm going to move it over and it should snap to that grid line. Now when I hit Control J again, it moves it and duplicates it. Keep going until you're over to this edge. I'm going to select all of these and group them. I'm going to choose a stroke color for this. I'm going to look at my swatches. I'm going to choose this medium gray color. I'm going to increase the width all the way up to 2 because I'm going to start with a 1-inch grid. Now if I go to View and turn off Show Grid, I've got just vertical lines. So I'm going to name this group 1-inch vertical. I'm going to turn on the Show Grid again. I'm going to select the pen tool, click once here, double click over here, choose the move tool, power duplicate with Control J, move this down until it locks into place there, and then power duplicate Control J until I get down to the bottom. I'm going to select these and group them. It had the right stroke, but I'm going to change this to make sure that it's assigned to the group as well. So I'll choose the gray color and I'll also change this to 2 points. I use this type of paper if I'm going to create some maps or battle maps for playing with miniature figures. I'm going to name this one 1-inch horizontal. And I could group these together and call it a 1-inch grid. I'm going to lock both of these. Now, if I wanted to, I could move this one over. So I can move it until it's centered. I could also adjust this with the transform tool to 0.25 inches. Now I can turn off the grid and it looks like that. I'm going to move this back over to the left for now. The next thing I'm going to do is to add a quad grid to this. So I'm going to go View, Show Grid. I'm going to click on Grid and Axis. This time for divisions, I'm going to type in 4. Now it shows the quad divisions. I'm going to use the pen tool. I'm going to go in 1 division. Click once here. Double click down there. Select my move tool. Control J to power duplicate. Move this over 1 space and then Control J till I get over to the other side. Keep hitting Control J all the way over. Now I've got these 2 locked, so if I select everything, it won't select these 2 groups. I'm going to put this into a group. I'm going to call that group Quad vertical. I'm going to change the stroke of the group, even though it's already automatically set to gray. I'm going to set it to gray at the group level, and then I'm going to change this to 1, so it makes those a little smaller. Now I'm going to do the same thing in the horizontal direction. Select the pen tool, click once at this point, double click here, select the move tool, and Control J to power duplicate. Move that down, and then Control J until it gets to the bottom of the page. And I'll stop right there. I could lock this one, and then select everything, group that, and assign that to, I'll call that one quad horizontal. I'm going to also set the stroke to gray and this to 1. So I could have selected these all at once, or I could group them and set up the stroke properties for the whole thing. If these are printing too dark, I can select them, set the opacity to 50%. And that usually prints out pretty well on my printer here at home. And if I want to change the color of this, I can set it to green. Like that. Last thing I'm going to do is engineering graph paper. So I'm just going to turn off all of these. And I'm going to go up to view the grid and look at the grid and axis. And I'm going to change the number of divisions to 5. Close that. I'm going to choose the pen tool. I'm going to click once at the top and double click at the bottom. Choose the move tool. Control J to power duplicate. Move this over 1 space, and then Control J all the way over to the other side of the screen. If I'm making maps, this is my favorite grid to use. I'll click once on the left and double click on the right. Choose the move tool, Control J to power duplicate, move this down 1, and then Control J all the way to the bottom of the document. I'm going to select all of these and then group them. And I'm going to make the stroke, I'm going to make this one sort of a tan color. And I'm going to change this to 1. You could go to higher resolutions. You might want to change the number of points for your graph if you go to higher resolutions. So you could save this file now, save as, and create a graph paper. Or you could export it as a JPEG to get an image of that. Let me know if you have any comments or questions, and thanks for watching.